Have you ever noticed this strange pattern? The more you try to explain yourself, the less people listen. The more you justify your actions, the less they respect you. And yet, you keep doing it, explaining, defending, over-clarifying. Why? Because somewhere along the line, you were taught that love is earned through understanding. That if people truly got you, they'd value you. But here's the truth no one tells you. The more you try to prove your worth, the more invisible you become. This video is not about becoming cold. It's about becoming solid. It's about learning what true respect feels like. And it starts the moment you stop explaining yourself. From childhood, many of us were programmed to explain. We had to explain why we were sad, why we didn't want to go to that event, why we were quiet, tired, distant. You learn quickly that silence makes people uncomfortable, and so you speak, even when you have nothing left to say. Not because it helps, but because you're afraid of being misunderstood. And here's where the trap begins. Every time you explain yourself to avoid judgment, you're not actually being understood. You're being evaluated, measured, judged against someone else's standard. And the more you do it, the more you teach people that you owe them your inner world. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But that privilege is lost the moment you start handing out explanations like apologies. Let's talk about energy, not in a spiritual sense, but in a psychological one. Every thought, every word, every explanation you give costs you something. Psychic energy, Jung called it, and you only have so much of it each day. When you explain yourself constantly to friends, family, strangers, you are leaking energy. Energy that should be building your life, your peace, your power. Instead, it's going to repair misunderstandings that should have been left untouched. People often mistake clarity for connection, but real connection doesn't require an explanation. It sees you, feels you, stands beside you, even in your silence. So ask yourself this: how many times have you over-explained just to be heard? And how many times did it change anything? There is something powerful about a person who doesn't rush to explain themselves. Their silence feels like presence. Their boundaries feel like respect. When you stop explaining, people are forced to do something uncomfortable. They reflect, they question, they wonder, and in that wonder, something happens. They start to respect you, not because they agree with you, but because they realize you don't need their approval to exist. You've become sovereign. Most people chase validation. They chase acceptance, applause, and praise. But the moment you no longer chase, you become the magnet, because people respect what they cannot control. Let's be brutally honest. The need to be understood is often a disguised form of control. You want people to see your perspective so that they'll treat you better, so they won't leave, so they'll love you on your terms. But that's not love. That's manipulation in disguise. True self-respect doesn't demand to be understood. It allows misunderstanding. It allows distance. It allows loss because it refuses to lose itself. You cannot force someone to see your heart. You can only show up as you are and let the blind remain blind, because sometimes the only way to be free is to be misunderstood. How many arguments have you prolonged because you needed to explain your side? How many toxic relationships have you clung to just to make them understand? And what did you lose in the process? Peace? Dignity? Time? There's a sacred kind of strength in walking away without a dramatic exit. No final message, no emotional essay, just silence. Because when you stop explaining, you reclaim something more valuable than validation. You reclaim your energy. Jung taught that individuation, becoming your true self, requires letting go of the persona, the mask. And one of the loudest masks we wear is the voice that says, "Please understand me." People will call you cold. They'll say you've changed. They'll guilt you, attack you. Because when you stop being the emotional caretaker of everyone's perception, you start being free. And not everyone will like your freedom, especially those who benefited from your compliance. But freedom isn't about being liked. It's about being whole. And wholeness demands silence. You don't owe an explanation for choosing peace. You don't owe anyone a reason for protecting your soul. You only owe it to yourself to stop bleeding for people who never brought a bandage. Here's how you begin. Pause before responding. Ask yourself, is this reply coming from insecurity or self-respect? Embrace the discomfort of not being understood. Let it pass through you. Don't resist it. Say no without a reason. No is a full sentence, and those who demand more often deserve less. Resist the urge to clarify your intentions. If someone misunderstands you and they want to, let them. Turn inward. Before you explain something outwardly, ask, have I accepted this within? You are not here to be decoded. You are here to live fully, authentically, loudly or silently, but always truthfully. If you've made it this far, there's a part of you that's already tired. Tired of shrinking, tired of editing, tired of convincing people that your heart is worthy. That part of you is your truth, and it's whispering something right now. It's time. Time to stop explaining yourself to people who only listen to judge. Time to stop seeking validation in eyes that never saw you clearly. Time to stop playing small in a world that only values you when you forget who you are. The world may not applaud your silence, but your soul will. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Your need to explain? That's unconscious. It's a habit, a wound, a survival pattern. But now you know. And when you know, you can choose. And when you choose, you become free. If this message resonated with you, I want you to comment, I no longer explain myself. Let's see how many of us are ready to reclaim our energy. How many are ready to stop over-explaining and start embodying presence. And if you're walking this path of silence, sovereignty, and self-respect, don't do it alone. Click subscribe so we can walk it together. Your energy is sacred. Treat it like it is.